No, but honestly, like, you have to keep up what you're doing. Like, not enough people encourage you what you lot are doing, and sometimes when you get bogged down and you're going through kind of the struggles and tribulations, you need to know, like, actually, you know what? I've got a community of people that believe what I believe, and actually, there's people in the ends that don't quite get it, but it doesn't matter because there's a new breed of us that are getting it, and we're going places, and those people become our employees. Not everyone wants to be the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time and for sharing such insight in the session we just had. My name is Isaiah, this is George. I'm just going to ask a range of questions.
Cool.
So, from the workshop we just had, we understand that you love to monetize your story, and that's what has enabled you to get to the position you're in now. I come from a single parent family, range of different challenges.
Yeah.
How have you been able to, first of all, what is your story and how have you been able to monetize it?
Cool, I'll keep it short. So obviously coming from Tottenham, which is one of the worst areas in London, like for me, I started off not in the best environment, but that's not the point. I think like a lot of people use excuses, oh yeah, we're from here, we have disadvantages, and for me, yeah, my disadvantage was the fact that I had dyslexia, so I had learning difficulties, so I couldn't read as much, I couldn't process information quickly, I couldn't pronounce certain words. However,
let's tell a story that we didn't tell in there.
Oh yeah, so went to Glasgow for one of my friends that played professional football, and we're playing a word game. What was
the alphabet gives you gets a country associated with that letter of the alphabet. So A, Argentina, so even B, Bolivia. It's on B where this story kicks in.
So obviously it gets to B, and we're not even halfway through the game yet. And what's it called? I have to say a country, and I say Belgium. I don't even know if I pronounced it correctly.
It says Belgium.
Belgium. Yeah.
Belgium.
Yeah. So everyone starts laughing and exploding in laughter.
At first we repeat it back. Belgium.
Yeah.
Belgium.
Yeah.
He's trying to say Virgin, Belgium.
Yeah.
But he's trying to say Belgium.
Belgium. I just can't get out of my voice. You know what I'm trying to say? Sure. So obviously for some people, what I've noticed, a lot of dyslexia people, they don't have confidence, so they'll be scared to come out of their comfort zone or be scared to say things. For me, because I guess I've got self-confidence, and to be honest, I don't care what, like, I know how to deal with it. So whether that's me giving my friend an uppercut, that's cool as a lot, or just saying, you know what, that's cool, like, and I can move forward. I deal with it in my own way because I know that I'm strong enough to move on, and I know I'm doing my thing rather than thinking, oh yeah, I'm scared because if I say something now, people may laugh at me. And I feel like that's one thing I really want to inspire and empower people that do have dyslexia to say, look, you know what, listen, we know we have, what's it called? Problems maybe with, because it's different for different people. People think dyslexia is one for everyone. It's different. Like 10% of the population have dyslexia and 4% is more severe. So for some people it might be worse. But I want to just say, look, I want people to embrace it more important, and one of the things I'm going to do, and hopefully you guys will follow my journey, is that I want to provide them tools that will enable people to manage and combat their dyslexia. Because when I was young, I had to work smarter because I wasn't intelligently as I guess, as academically as great as all my other peers. So I had to think, okay, one thing I can beat them on is time. Remember I told you, time, is the greatest commodity. So me, what I did is use my time effectively so that I could keep up with them and I could do things better. So remember that, work smarter.
Great stuff, yeah, thank you very much. And I also wanted to touch on, because the theme of the Amos Bursary conference again was about innovation, creativity and entrepreneurship, and a lot of people have great ideas, but as we know, if you don't execute on those ideas, they're just ideas and they don't go anywhere. So when people are thinking about setting up companies, often they go straight to the product. I wanted to talk about the importance of minimal viable products, or MVPs, and how important you guys actually think they are.
Yeah, so I define this kind of person as a entrepreneur, someone that focuses on the cosmetics, focuses on the logo, registering the company, setting up the website, focusing on everything that's shiny, like printing business cards. But actually, that's what is an afterthought for most entrepreneurs or first-time entrepreneurs. The MVP stands for minimal viable products, and what it's really testing is the minimal set of features that a customer values, because you want to close the gap between your perceived value, your idea, and the customer's value. And in order to do that, you need to realize actually what's the main use case, the MVP, that you really want to test with the customer, so you can test your riskiest assumptions up front and really get to a point where a customer is going to value what I'm about to bring to the market. You want to even try and get pre-sales if possible. Or you want to be able to identify exactly who your customer is, so that when it's time to actually sell your product, you can go straight to selling it to that customer that you've identified, and you've already ironed out all of the riskiest assumptions. You've already created something that's now for the customer rather than something that is based on your perceived value. And that starts with just story mapping, working out actually what's the basic functionality that I need, the minimum set of features, and then you can start thinking about, okay, what would make it awesome? But that turns into your roadmap of things that you do in 6, 12, 15 months. And that's iterative too. It could change depending on where the market goes and where your customer takes you. You might start a food business based on just African food, but actually in 12 months it's Caribbean food, and actually Caribbean food becomes your USP, and that becomes your market, and that becomes your business. There's so many businesses that have pivoted. We hear this term pivoting over the years because they found actually that it's a different customer need that they can address even better than their original idea. But the whole fact is that they raced as quick as possible to get into the customer, making that first sale and getting your first 100. It's so important to get your first 100 as validation to know 100 people are willing to use and pay for my platform.
Wow. So many questions, but I'm conscious of the time. Which one should I choose? Okay. You mentioned that you went traveling and it was quite a stressful experience at first. Can you just speak a bit about the importance of stepping out of your comfort zone, doing things that may not typically be attributed to our communities and people from the African Caribbean diaspora? People from our communities don't go traveling, well, not a lot of people go traveling. They don't really understand the benefits of it. They think, I'm in London, that's enough of an adventure. Can you just speak a bit about
Sure.
why it's important?
Sure. So I'll tell you a little story. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with this story. If you read the book, you would be. I won't reveal what the book is yet. So a guy gets onto a train with his 2 children. And the guy sits down and his children start going ape within the carriage. They're shouting, they're screaming, they're stepping on people, and the guy's just docile. He just sits there, he doesn't react. People are looking at him like, what's wrong with him? Why isn't he controlling the situation? Why isn't he telling his children off? This is disgraceful. A German man stands up, goes to the father and says, what's wrong with you? How can you let your children run down the carriage? The guy replies, sorry, we've just come from the hospital and they found out that their mum's died. And suddenly the perspective shifts. Suddenly that German man feels sorry for that father because now he understands his perspective, he understands his paradigm. The main benefit for me of traveling was that paradigm. Before traveling, when I went to the interview, I would chronologically walk through my CV. I was born in Tottenham in this year, went to school, got these grades, went to university, studied this subject, and now I'm here and I really want to work for you, I swear I do. When I went traveling and came back, I would start the interview by saying, I'm from one of the most multicultural wards in the whole of Europe. We've learned to value diversity from a young age. In fact, we were molded by diversity. There's over 90 different nationalities and 300 different languages. By the way, I'm from Tottenham. It's a different paradigm. It's a different way of introducing something that you know so well now. Yeah. But that comes from how educating your mind and understanding that interviewer's paradigm, understanding how to be a storyteller, understanding how to monetize on your story. Does that make sense? Yeah, so in an interview, I always direct a question so that it goes into my direction, so that I can storytell. So I can tell them why me and 3. So I can tell them the reason that I want this job is because of purpose, autonomy, and mastery, and what that means to me. And suddenly I'm a cut above the rest. You're going to remember me when I leave that interview. You can't tell me that lie of you wasn't experienced enough so you didn't give me the job. That's one of the biggest fallacies. I wouldn't invite you to the interview if you weren't experienced enough. I knew your experience when I saw your CV. So you cannot accept that as a fallacy or a story. So it's about really understanding your story, like Mr. Work Smarter said, and monetizing it. And for me, traveling has enabled me to do that through understanding different paradigms. They didn't get that in this room.
But we always like to leave the Amos Bursary students and students elsewhere with the top tips for success, whatever you consider success to be.
Cool. I'll quickly. One quick. Okay, so for me, the top tip is habit, or more importantly, productivity. I'll tell you why. Because the difference between a successful and an unsuccessful person is what they do with their time. Everyone thinks there's this magical formula to success. Oh yeah, you got to do this, got to do that. No. The difference between someone that is successful and unsuccessful is because they use their time effectively. Whether that's waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, whether that's reading books, listening to the right things, connecting with the right people, they're doing the right things. So me personally, use your time effectively and you will be successful.
It's hard to follow up with that, to be honest. I think for me, it's about a game of inches. It's a phrase that we're always using in our talks, and it's all about that incremental gains that you're getting every day. And it's almost like being on a football field and crawling on your forearms. It's such a long journey to get to the other side of the field, but actually you realize that you are going to get there. It's just going to take you time. And when you have this mentality, you focus on what I call just one thing. We want to focus on just one thing a day. So what am I going to get out today? What's the one piece of value I'm going to get out today to move incrementally forward in what I'm doing? It's not about trying out this idea, that idea, this idea, 10 ideas. It's about focusing on just one idea at a time and giving it your all every day and recognizing that it's not overnight success. Yes, I've got 5 more followers, but how many of them have converted into actual people that will buy my product? I'm not focused on outputs, I'm focused on outcomes. I'm not focused on impressions, I'm focused on sales. I'm focused on the right things, the right metrics, my one key metric that defines what success is for my company. So I'd advise people to just take on that concept of game of inches and recognize that it does take time, but you have to play the game. And that's why you need to be passionate about it and good at it. So it starts with self-awareness.
Woo! Yes, yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you both.
Thank you so much.
You know, honestly, I want to know how you know both journey. I like to see you, Rob, and I think you two will go far. I just don't know why. I just have that feeling.
Mate, most of them in
And
that room, most of you like in that room, I'm sure.
No, all of you like in this, like, listen, you're all in the right place. The fact that you're here today, as I said, and you're saying, like, come on, it's hard.
Amos Bursary